Hi everybody, welcome inside the CrossFit Update Studios. I'm Sean Woodland with Tommy Marquez and Pat Sherwood. The week that was in 18.1 continues. Today we're taking a look at the top stories on the men's side of things. And this one, for the second straight year again, just benefited some guys who knew how to put their heads down and just do some grunt work here.
18.1 was perfect. That doesn't mean that it was enjoyable, but it was perfect. I mean, we have over 400,000 people throwing down in the open, so yes, we have to test fitness. Yes, we have to screen for the best. But for the first workout, 18.1, let's keep the complexity rather low and just make sure it's a warm welcome to everybody.
And kind of building off of that, the fact that a low complexity workout includes toes to bar at this stage really speaks to the efficacy of our community as a whole, because that used to be a skill that was pretty tough for a lot of people just in general for such a long time duration. Yeah, and for the people that it still is, we're seeing some cool posts about people getting their first toes to bar, and those are kind of the things we're used to seeing in the open that are really inspiring.
With the women, we saw some familiar names on top of the leaderboard. That's not the case with the men, and we'll get into this in a second. 7 of the top 10 scores are out of Europe North. We're going to talk about that. Only 6 individual games athletes are even in the top 20, and it's Nikolai Deuce who puts up the top score of 487 repetitions. What do we know about this guy?
Well, absent of a score review last year, this would have been deja vu, because he actually finished tops in the world in 17.1 until he got a few no reps during his video review that gave him a penalty and it dropped him down a little bit. He had a 941 in 17.1, which is well ahead of the best time last year. He still had a top 10 score in Europe with the penalty, so clearly this workout with the unilateral work and the dumbbell, the longer time duration, the ability to just stick your head down and grind like we mentioned.
Dude's a workhorse.
Yeah, something in his wheelhouse, and he showcased that last year too.
I mentioned that 7 of the top 10 scores came out of Europe North. Do we have any explanation as to why that happened?
We predicted this. When we saw 18.1, we
all
said
over it.
Europe North is just going to crush this. I mean, no, we didn't. This was so, before the show, we were trying to come up with some intelligent reason behind it. I'm sorry, we're very heavy on theory and very light on fact. The fact that Europe North just knocked this out of the park boggles my mind.
Well, you know, my theory, Pat, is that for a lot of these top athletes, the differentiator is on the rower, right? Most of these top athletes can go unbroken on both the dumbbell and the toes to bar with fast transitions without much difference in pace. And this is my guess. Europe North, during the winter, you can't really go running outside when it's covered in snow. Maybe you're inside the gym getting your aerobic work on the rower, and so maybe they're a little bit more comfortable on that machine, and maybe that's why they did better.
Yeah, I'll accept that. Hey, you know what? Short on facts, heavy on theory. That's pretty much the motto, of this show.
Works every week.
Yeah, look, if this keeps up, that Europe North fight to get into the regional is going to be fantastic to watch. Again, it's only week 1, but there were some men who certainly did not get off to the start that they wanted to, and some of them are in genuine trouble right now. Garrett Fisher and Scott Panchik can straighten out their situation, but then you look at James Newberry, Easy Muhammad, and Zach Carcetti. They are in legitimate peril right now of possibly missing regionals, but the first 2 guys on that list, they certainly can work their way back into this thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just to kind of give us some facts here, Carcetti's got a bum knee. He's going in for an MRI, so he might not even finish the open. I gave Panchik a call, and after some initial niceties, I was like, so 18.1. He's like, oh man, are we starting this already? And I was like, look, it didn't go how he wanted. And he admitted that. He's like, look, I did it more than once, tried to better my score. And the second time, it didn't go better. Sometimes that's just how it is. And he said, look, over 400,000 people throwing down. The level of competition is so high these days that just the average scores might not be, at the end of the open, the winner or top 2 people might not have less than 100 points. Like, those numbers might go up. Andy said it's only week 1. Who's kidding who after 5 weeks, this isn't the leaderboard that you're going to see.
And there's precedent for Panchik to make that climb back. In 2016 and 16.1, he had a 51st place finish in the Central East, managed to make his way back, and he was just fine like he always is. I mean, James Newberry, his partner, Kayla Banfield, who works for us, I actually chatted with her a little bit. She said that James in the offseason was working on his strength, kind of focusing on one of the things that had a weakness for him in the past. And as a result, maybe his overall fitness had slipped a little bit, and then this comes down the pipe. So it was kind of a perfect storm for him to not do well in this workout. So with 30 spots up for grabs out of Australasia, I think he'll do just fine and be able to climb his way back.
Yeah, it's a tough mountain to climb there, but he certainly has the ability to do it. Jonakowski, his name did not show up on the leaderboard. What do we know about what's going on with him?
Yeah, it's kind of a culmination of a couple of years of a nagging knee injury for Yona, who unfortunately won't be competing this year. He's been dealing with this knee injury for a while. After the games last year, went in to basically get it cleared out of scar tissue, and they discovered that there was some damage to a tendon in his knee. Has had 2 surgeries since the games. That tendon damage added to the recovery time. He was hoping to be ready in time for the Open. Unfortunately, his recovery process just isn't at a point where it's going to allow him to compete at that level. And so unfortunately, he's going to take the year off, not going to participate, and already looking to 2019. But it's just unfortunate for a top athlete like him just to not be able to get to see him compete.
On the positive side of the injury front, there were a couple of athletes who were coming back here in 2018 from injuries who did very well right off the bat, one of whom who has been a big topic of conversation here on the show so far early on, and that's Alex Vigneault.
Yeah, Vigneault was in my 10 to watch article that I put out earlier this year, but one of the things that stood out to me, I had a chance to talk with him in person when I ran into him at an event in the offseason, was just the focus and drive that he had when he told me that he was angry that he didn't get to showcase the fitness that he had last year, having a season cut short due to the pec injury. And that was reiterated by his countryman, Albert Dominic LaRouche, who immediately after said, "Watch out for Alex, he's very upset," and he said it in a way that struck fear into my heart. So I definitely, take him at his word, and what better way to showcase that than a strong performance here.
I love hearing that because Vigneault was an absolute beast, and who's kidding who? At the top of the game, if you go to the CrossFit Games, you're one of the most amazing, most fit people on the face of the earth. You can run, you can lift, you can do it all. A lot of times what separates those numbers on paper is what's between the ears, that grit, that fire, that determination. So if Vigneault's bringing that in 2018, I'm just excited to be a fan and watch.
Yeah, and Chase Smith, another guy who showed up on the radar coming back from injury last year as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy who a couple years ago was tied with Vigneault at regionals, and Vigneault went on a tiebreaker to go to the games. Kind of heartbreaking for Chase. Comes back, thought he was going to have a really strong year. Unfortunately, he got an injury. Now he's healed up and back, and excited to see if he can make another dark horse run.
A lot of good scores were put up in the age groups as well. Here's a look at the individuals that put up the best marks in their respective age divisions. Tudor Magda and Dallin Pepper leading the way for the teenage division. Robert Down in that 35 to 39-year-old division. Remember, we're going to see a couple men who competed in that division last year throw down in an open announcement. That's Kyle Kasperbauer and Neil Maddox. 18.2 is the one that is up next, though. That is this Thursday night live, 5 p.m. Pacific time, from right outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at CrossFit Raw. Patrick Vellner taking on Noah Olson. You can watch it live on the CrossFit Games Facebook page or on games.crossfit.com. That's it for us for today. For Pat Sherwood and Tommy Marquez, I am Sean Woodland. We will be back tomorrow. Tommy will have an Inside the Leaderboard. I will break down the Service Open. Again, that's right back here tomorrow from the CrossFit Update Studios.